Chapter 8. In the shadow of the throne, he woke to red light. Not bright, not searing. A steady, oppressive crimson glow that painted every surface the color of old blood. It came from strips in the ceiling and from the floor plates themselves. Low intensity, but inescapable. Superman tried to move. His wrists did not respond at first. Then he realized why. They were fixed in heavy magnetic cuffs, each one clamped to a hard point on the wall behind him. His ankles were similarly bound. A thick metal band circled his chest, anchored to the floor and ceiling with energy braces. He was upright, slightly tilted back, like a specimen on display. Every restraint hummed faintly. Not quite electricity, something deeper. Gravity fields twisted just so, adding artificial weight. Each breath felt like it was happening under a few extra tons of atmosphere. He tested the bones, not full strength, just a measured push. Pain flared through his shoulders and ribs as muscles strained. The metal groaned, but did not give. The hum in the restraints ticked up, sensing resistance and countering. He let the push go, breathing out slowly. His head throbbed dully from the blow that had dropped him. Vague impressions of the last minutes of the fight with Vader shuffled around the edges of his memory. A corridor, a blade in his side, a voice saying yield. He looked around. The cell was circular, maybe 5 meters across. Walls of dark gray durasteel, broken by faint seams. No visible door, no furniture, no viewports. Just him, the restraints, and the red light. He could not feel the stars. He could usually, faintly, even inside ships, a sense of the broader universe outside, like sunlight through shutters. Here, it was like standing in a windowless basement, far underground. The air tasted recycled but clean. No hint of smoke or coolant leaks. The temperature was just slightly cool. Someone had put thought into this prism. "Good morning," a dry voice said. The sound did not come from a visible speaker. It came from everywhere at once, vibrating through the walls. Superman looked up. The red light in front of him dimmed slightly. In its place, a hollow shimmered to life. Not 10 meters tall this time, but life-size and much more present. Emperor Palpatine stood there, hood up, robes dark. He did not need scale to be imposing. The lines of his face were fully visible at this range. The deep creases, the unhealthy pallor, the eyes like glowing coals buried in ash. Or perhaps it is evening, the Emperor mused. It is so hard to tell, in the void. Superman swallowed. His throat felt dry. "I take it this means my request for a lawyer was denied," he said. Palpatine's lips twitched. "Your humor is persistent," he said. "Admirable, in a way. Though we will see how long it lasts." Superman shifted his weight as much as the restraints allowed. "Where am I?" he asked. "On board the Judicator still." Palpatine said, "For the moment, Lord Vader thought it best to keep you in a familiar environment until certain calibrations are complete. You will be moved soon." "Nice of him to think of my comfort," Superman said. "Oh, this is not for your comfort," Palpatine said. "This is for security and study." His gaze roamed over Superman slowly, like a scientist examining a rare creature. "You broke tractor beams," he said. "You tore apart my gravity projectors with your bare hands. You shrugged off turbo-laser fire that would have slagged capital ships. You even stood against Lord Vader longer than any non-Force user I have seen in many years." He tilted his head. "You are an anomaly," he said. "The Force touches you strangely. You do not channel it, yet your presence disturbs its currents. You shine even now, even weakened." Superman could feel the dampening again, subtle but present. His muscles were sluggish, his senses a bit muted. The red light pricked at the back of his skull. Something in its spectrum gnawed at his solar reserves. "You did this," he said. "Turn down the volume on whatever is inside me." "For now," Palpatine said. "A temporary dampener. I cannot risk you breaking my toys. Not until I know precisely how you work." "What is the plan?" Superman asked. cut me open? Pull out parts? Palpatine laughed softly. Crude dissection is for butchers and amateurs, he said. I am an artist, and you, my dear Superman, are a new medium. He stepped closer, or the hollow made it seem so. Tell me about your world, he said. This Earth. Superman's jaw clenched. No, he said. No, Palpatine repeated, amused. Do you think I cannot find it without your help? You do not know where it is, Superman said, and you never will. Palpatine's eyes gleamed. Confidence, he said, but misplaced. You leave traces, Superman. You tore a hole between realities by accident. With study, with time, I could replicate the conditions, or simply follow the resonance you have already imprinted on the fabric of space. Superman tried to keep his face neutral. You are bluffing, he said. Perhaps, Palpatine said. Perhaps not. Consider, though, if I can find your home, I could send you there. Or send my fleets. You could see your yellow sun again. You could feel whole. All I would ask in return is assistance. Superman stared at him. You want to send me home, he said slowly, if I help you rule this galaxy. And perhaps your own, Palpatine said. Imagine it. With your power and my guidance, you could bring order to both. End war, end crime, no more petty villains, no more chaos, just peace. Your peace, Superman said. Peace is peace, Palpatine said. Who cares whose banner flies over it, if rivers run clear and children sleep safely? Superman thought of Alderaan, of cities erased in an instant because a princess would not betray her friends. Children do not sleep safely under you, he said quietly. Palpatine's expression did not change. You cling to the small picture, he said. One world here, one city there. You refuse to see the grand design. The Jedi made the same mistake. They let corruption flourish in the Senate, let war sweep across the stars, then wallowed in guilt when their failures caught up with them. And you fixed that by becoming worse than the corruption, Superman said. You turned the galaxy into your personal fear farm. Palpatine's eyes flashed. Fear is a tool, he said. Hope is a drug. You push it like a dealer. You make people believe they can fight me. That is your crime. Superman actually laughed, rough and short. That is the first time anyone has called hope a crime, he said. Palpatine's smile returned, thin and sharp. Hope is dangerous, he said. It makes people think they can change things. They start questioning their masters. They forget their place. That is kind of the point, Superman said. Indeed, Palpatine said. And that is why I will break you. Not because you are powerful, though you are. Not because you are unique, though you may be. But because you are a symbol. If I can make you scream, make you kneel, show the galaxy that even you submit, then what will their hope be worth? He raised a hand. The red light deepened. Superman felt pressure creep through his nerves, like pins of cold. Images flickered at the edges of his vision, not hallucinations exactly, but suggestions. Metropolis under a greenish sky, the Daily Planet building half collapsed. People running, screaming. A figure in a cape, watching from above, not moving. He shook his head. The image did not vanish. More piled on. Krypton's red sun, bloated and bursting. His parents' farmhouse nothing but blackened beams. Lois, on a catwalk over a bottomless chasm, reaching for him as she fell. No, he whispered. Palpatine watched. I cannot see your world in detail, he said. Not yet, but I can taste your fears. Loss, failure, inadequacy. You play the hero because you are terrified of what happens when you are not there. Superman focused on his breathing. In, out. He had learned this once on a mountaintop, from a man who had never thrown a punch in his life, but had mastered his own mind. The images wavered. You will not break me with parlor tricks, he said. No. Palpatine said. Not today. Today we test. Tomorrow, perhaps, we refine. He lowered his hand. The red light eased a fraction. The illusions faded, leaving only the cell. Superman's muscles trembled slightly. He had not realized how much effort it took to resist, until the pressure eased. Palpatine watched with clinical interest. You are more resistant than most, he said. Fascinating. I look forward to exploring your limits. I am not your lab rat, Superman said. In this, you are whatever I decide you are, Palpatine said. For now, you will remain here, while certain preparations are made. Then we will move you to a more permanent facility, one with better equipment. Where? Superman asked. Palpatine smiled. Curious, he said. Good. Curiosity leads to questions. Questions lead to doubt. Doubt leads to cracks. He did not answer. The hollow flickered and vanished. Superman was alone again, with only the red light and the hum of the restraints for company. He closed his eyes and leaned his head back against the cold metal behind him. He thought of Earth, of Lois, Jimmy, Perry, the League, of his parents' grave, of late nights on the balcony with coffee and half-finished articles. He thought of Kara, Luke, Mon Mothma, of the Twi'lek girl on the transport, of Holden's weary promise, of Arix's conflicted eyes. The galaxy he was in needed him. So did the one he came from. He had no idea if he would ever see the second again. Okay, he murmured to himself. One thing at a time. He straightened as much as the restraints allowed. You are not done yet, Clark, he whispered. No one answered. On the Redemption, the air in the briefing room felt heavier than usual. The hologram in the center of the table showed the outline of a Star Destroyer, labeled Judicator. A blinking marker flagged its last known position. A second icon, representing the interdictor, sat nearby, tagged as damaged. We have confirmed reports from multiple sources, General Riakheim said. The convoy made it through. All 3 refugee transports and both primary escorts are accounted for. Minor casualties, but nothing catastrophic. A visible wave of relief passed through the room. And Superman? Kara asked. She already knew the answer. She had felt it in her gut since the moment the tactical link had gone to static. Riakhan's expression told the story before his words did. The Judicator did not pursue, he said. They focused all their tractor beams on him. Our last telemetry from the Corvix shows his position being drawn into their hangar. After that, nothing. We have to assume he has been captured. Hera looked down at her hands. Her knuckles were white against the tabletop. I was the one who asked him to fly escort, she said. I brought him into this war. That is not how I remember it, Luke said. He sat a few seats down, hands folded loosely in his lap. He looked tired. The faint bruise across his nose, a relic of an earlier mission, only added to the impression. He chose to come, Luke said. He chose to stay when he could have tried to find his way home. He chose to go on that convoy. Those were his decisions. He would not have been in a position to make those decisions if we had not let him into high command, Akbar said. We share responsibility. That is what command is. Mon Mothma stood at the far end of the table, hands resting lightly on the edge. How sure are we that he is alive? She asked. Luke's gaze turned inward for a second. I can still feel him, he said. He's muffled, like someone wrapped him in cloth and put him in a box. But the light is still there. The Emperor will not kill him, Akbar said. Not yet. An asset like that? He will try to turn him, or dissect him, or both. Which brings us to the question, General Maddox said. Do we try to get him back? The room went quiet. That is not a question for me, Luke said. Not alone. It is a question for all of us, Mon Mothma said. We cannot treat Superman as if he were a rebel soldier who knew the risks when he signed up. He knows the risks now, Kara said. He has seen more combat than half our volunteers. That does not erase our responsibility, Mon Mothma said gently. Akbar flicked his large eyes toward the hollow. If we go after him, he said, we will be facing at least 1 Star Destroyer, possibly more. and wherever the Emperor decides to take him. A rescue attempt would require resources we can ill afford. Ships, spies, lives. If we do not, Luke said quietly, the Emperor has time to work on him, to push, to twist. Imagine Superman with a Sith's leash around his neck. Maddox shifted uncomfortably. We do not even know if that is possible, he said. The Emperor thinks it is worth trying, Luke said. That is enough for me. Kara looked up. Leaving him is not an option, she said. Not for me. We do not leave people to be broken. That is the whole point of this fight. Riken sighed. I am not arguing the ethics here, he said. But we must think strategically. A failed rescue mission could cost us more than losing him. If the Emperor expects us to come, he will set a trap. The Emperor always sets traps. Mon Mothma said. If we let that paralyze us, we may as well surrender now. She looked around the table, meeting each set of eyes in turn. Superman has already altered the course of this war, she said. The Valtor raid, the convoy. The mere fact of his existence has shaken the Empire's confidence. If he is turned, we face a potential weapon unlike any we have ever known, turned against us. If he is broken publicly, we lose a symbol we have only just begun to understand. Her gaze settled on Luke. If he is rescued, she said, we gain something more, a reminder that we do not abandon those who stand with us. Luke nodded. In the Force, he said, everything is connected. If we let the Emperor win this one, not in battle, but in spirit, the ripples will reach farther than any destroyer's wake. Akbar's tentacles twitched. Then we do not make the decision on emotion alone, he said. We gather intel. We find out where they are taking him. We determine if a strike is even possible. If it is not, we accept that. If it is, we weigh the risk. Mon Mothma nodded. Agreed, she said. General Riken? We have assets within Imperial communications, Riken said. Spy networks, slicers, sympathetic officers. We will watch for any mention of a high-value prisoner transfer. A being of Superman's power cannot be moved without some record. Even if it is buried. Kara frowned. What about Valtor? She asked. Howden. He has already bent the rules for us once. If he hears anything. Riken tapped to control. The holo shifted, zooming out to show a wider sector map. The listening post at Valtor flashed faintly. Howden contacted an old smuggling route after your mission, Riken said. An unregistered ping to a ship we know belongs to one of our informants. The contents were curious. He brought up a data packet. Lines of Imperial notation scrolled by. Damage assessments, Riken said. Routine logs. And a note. Judicator departed system on altered vector after intercept. Likely high-value capture. Howden knows, Kara said. Or suspects, Riken said. This is his way of telling us without committing overt treason. Meaning we owe him too, Kara muttered. Meaning, Mon Mothma said. We have enough to know where to listen next. Akbar flicked his eyes to a junior officer at the side of the room. Any intercept? He asked. The officer checked his datapad. We have flagged 3 transmissions from Adjudicator since the battle, he said. 1 routine status update. 1 coded directly to Coruscant. And 1 tagged for high clearance only, routed through a secure relay. Break them, Kara said. We are working on it, the officer said. The secure relay transmission will take time. Do not let up, Akbar said. If the Emperor is having him moved, it will be in that secure channel. Riken turned back to Mon Mothma. In the meantime, he said, I recommend we begin drafting contingency plans. Small unit insertion, extraction under fire, potential use of captured codes. Do it, she said, and appoint someone to command it. Kara straightened. I volunteer, she said. Akbar opened his mouth. Captain Ven, it is my responsibility, she cut in. He trusted me. I brought him into this. I will be the one to bring him out, or die trying. Silence. Nuke studied her. Going in with guilt riding your shoulders is a good way to get dead, he said quietly. Kara glared at him. Spare me the Jedi wisdom, she said. You of all people know what it is like to not leave a friend behind. You think I am suggesting we leave him? Luke asked, equally quiet. I am saying you need to go in with clarity, not self-punishment. Mon Mothma held up a hand. This is not about penance, she said. It is about capability. Captain Ven, you are one of our best field commanders. You have led ship-to-ship operations, infiltration, extraction. You know Superman personally. That cuts both ways. Kara's jaw worked. I can do this, she said. I believe you, Mon Mothma said, which is why you will be on that team. Whether you lead it, we will decide once we know what we are facing. Kara nodded stiffly. Understood, she said. Luke looked at Mon Mothma. You already know I will volunteer, he said. So, I will simply say it. If the Emperor is there, or if Vader is, I may be the only one who can distract them long enough for anyone else to escape. Mon Mothma's eyes softened. You are also our only Jedi, she said. If we lose you, you have more than one Jedi, Luke said. You just do not know all of them yet. He thought of Leia, of faint connections he had only recently begun to recognize. Regardless, Mon Mothma said, we plan first. Then we argue about who goes. She looked at the holo again, at the blinking icon of the Judicator. Superman bought those refugees their lives, she said. We owe him our best effort. That does not mean a suicidal charge. It means precisely what we have always tried to do. Fight smart. Hit where they are weak. Protect who we can. Her voice hardened. And if we can pull the Man of Steel out of the Emperor's grasp, she said, we will. On the Judicator, the cell door finally appeared. It began as a faint outline in the wall opposite Superman, a rectangle of slightly darker gray. Then the seams brightened, and the section slid aside with a hiss. 2 stormtroopers entered first, blasters at the ready. Behind them came an officer in black, trim and unsmiling, datapad in hand. Subject is conscious, the officer noted aloud. Superman raised an eyebrow. Got a name, he said. You have several, the officer said. Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent. I recommend getting used to being called Subject. It is simple. Superman's heart skipped a beat. How do you know those? He asked. Lord Vader extracted some impressions during your engagement, the officer said. And the Emperor is gifted at interpreting them. He gestured. The restraints around Superman's chest clicked and retracted slightly, enough to allow portable graph harness clamps to be attached. The troopers moved forward, attaching devices with the careful precision of men who had been told that nudging the wrong thing could lead to a very short career. The cuffs at his wrists and ankles detached from the wall, but tightened around his limbs, linking to the grave harness. He felt the artificial weight increase. We are moving you, the officer said. Do not attempt to struggle. The harness is calibrated to increase localized gravity by a factor of 4 if you resist. 4, Superman said. Why not 5 or 10? Go big or go home. The officer did not rise to the bait. Because we want you conscious, he said. For now. They led him out into the corridor. It was identical to dozens of Imperial corridors he had seen. Grey walls, recessed lighting, armored doors. The difference here was the density of security. At every junction stood more troopers. Ceiling turrets tracked his movement. Some panels in the walls had a faint shimmer that spoke of layered energy fields. They took him to a lift. It descended farther than he expected, deck after deck, sliding past in the small indicator above the doors. The red light in the cell was replaced by more standard Imperial white, but the harness continued to hum. The Lord Vader has authorized your transfer to a specialized facility, the officer said as they rode. The Emperor wishes to oversee your evaluation personally. Coruscant? Superman asked. The officer snorted softly. The Emperor does not bring unknown weapons into his home unless he has to, he said. No, we are bound for a secure research installation. Classified location. Does it have a name? Superman asked. Officially? The officer said. No. Unofficially, some call it the Spindle. Slim, cold, very, very deep. Superman filed that away. The lift doors opened into a hangar, smaller than the main one he had fought in, but still spacious. A single shuttle sat in the middle, its design different from the usual lander class. Sleeker, darker, with extended fins that bristled with sensors. A ring of red armored guards stood around it. Their armor was different from Stormtrooper white. Crimson plates, flowing tabards, helmets with T-shaped visors. Force pikes rested in their hands. Royal Guards, the officer said. Personal agents of the Emperor. Do not test them. Would not dream of it, Superman said under his breath. As they approached, one of the guards stepped forward and swept a device over him. It beeped and chirped, casting a web of scanning beams across his body. Power level stable, the guard said. His voice was muffled but clear. Dampener field at 80% effectiveness. Harness integrity nominal. Good, the officer said. They marched him up the shuttle ramp. Inside, the air felt colder. The interior was dark metal and black pads. No viewports visible from where he was strapped into a reinforced seat. More guards took positions along the walls. The officer strapped himself in opposite. The shuttle's engines throbbed to life, a deeper, more ominous sound than the standard Imperial whine. Superman felt the faint shift in gravity as they lifted. Then the transition as they left the Star Destroyer's artificial gravity and entered space. He tried to reach out with his other senses. The dampening fought him. He could, with effort, sense the massive bulk of the Judicator nearby, the pinpricks of other ships. Beyond that, nothing clear. He let his eyes close. Subject appears calm, the officer noted, glancing at his datapad. Superman smirked. You can call me Clark, he said. The officer ignored him. The shuttle vanished into hyperspace. On the Redemption, hours later, the encryptors finally cracked the Judicator's secure transmission. Draven, the head of Alliance Intelligence, appeared in the doorway of the briefing room with a datapad in his hand and a grim look on his face. We have it, he said. Mon Mothma straightened. Destination? She asked. Draden keyed the holo. A star field appeared, then zoomed into a sparse region near the galactic midrim. A single red dot pulsed there, orbiting a dim, almost dead star. No name on any official charts, Doctriven said. Unofficially, some Imperial chatter calls it RS-221, codename Spindle. Off-book research platform. No traffic in or out, except heavily encrypted shuttles and escort destroyers. Whatever the Emperor does there, he does not want it widely known. Judicator is en route? Akbar asked. Negative, Dr. Raven said. The Judicator transmitted a prisoner transfer order to a specialized shuttle, then resumed normal patrol pattern. The shuttle itself made a micro-jump and disappeared from standard lanes. But their signal pinged the relay we have a tap on. Destination is RS-221. So that is where they are taking him, Riken said. Most likely, Doctrine said. The transmission refers to one exceptional specimen, destined for direct Imperial supervision. That is the Emperor. Defenses. Madakost. Draven pulled up more data. If we are, you said. We are safety at the place. Failed to dock. The station is roughly spindle-shaped, hence the nickname. Long central axis, multiple ring sections. It orbits a neutron star, which makes sensor readings noisy. Power signatures suggest heavy shielding and multiple weapons emplacements. No known hangar capacity enough for capital ships, but it likely has docking ports for destroyers. Garrison strength unknown. We can assume at least a regiment, plus special troops. And possibly Vader, Luke said quietly. Draven nodded. His transmission checksum appears in the initial order, he said. He signed off on the transfer. Whether he will be present at the station, unknown. Kara leaned forward. Can we get a shipping close without being atomized? She asked. That depends on how loud you want to be, Dr. Raven said. A full fleet engagement would be suicide. A single corvette could maybe get into weapon range before being swatted. But, he flipped to another screen. There is a maintenance traffic pattern. Small courier and supply ships. They use pre-cleared codes and tight approach vectors. With the right transponder and the right code packet, we could get a small vessel docked before anyone asks too many questions. Small vessel, Akbar repeated. Crew complement? Dozen, 2 dozen tops, Dokrin said. Maybe a strike team, if we pack them in. Kara could already feel the shape of the plan forming. Infiltrate on a fake supply run, she said. Get on board, find Superman, get out before the station knows what hit it. Or before the station collapses, Tannis muttered from the back. He had been leaning against the wall, arms folded, taking it all in. Which might not be a bad fallback. Blowing it up with him on board is not an option, Kara snapped. Tannis raised his hands. I said fallback, he said. Last resort, if things go extremely sideways. Assume they will, Akbar said. Plan for worse, hope for better. Mon Mothma looked at Kara. If we do this, she said, you will be part of the team. I will not deny you that. But I cannot send you alone. You will not have to, Luke said. He met Mon Mothma's gaze. You knew I would say it, he said. And I know what you are about to say. I am too important, too dangerous if captured, too big a risk. All true, Mon Mothma said. And still, Luke said, I have to go. Not just because he is my friend, because I can feel the Emperor's interest in him. If this is a game of influence, of will, then I have to be on that board, even if I am not in the same room. Mon Mothma exhaled slowly. If you go, she said, you avoid direct confrontation with the Emperor, if at all possible. If he is there and you sense a trap, you run. You do not stand and fight to satisfy your pride. Luke smiled faintly. I have had my fill of dueling Sith Lords on their terms, he said. I promise you, I will not seek him. But if he seeks me, we will cross that bridge when we must. Mon Mothma said. For now, we plan assuming he is absent. If he appears, we adapt. She turned to Draven. Find us a ship, she said. Something small, nondescript, with a profile that fits this station's maintenance traffic. Draven nodded. I have a few possibilities, he said. There is a captured Imperial courier, designation Theta 9, in storage at one of our hidden docks. Its codes are old but still in the Imperial database. We can patch in new orders through our tap, rerouting it to RS-221 as a special delivery. Crew? Reekon asked. Volunteers only, Mon Mothma said. We will not order anyone into this. You will get more volunteers than you can fit in a hold, Kara said. Well, one thing is good, he said. What happens when the symbol of hold will be solid, out of the Force? Which is why you, General Reekon, and Admiral Akbar, will select them, Mon Mothma replied. We need specialists, slicers, infiltrators, heavy hitters, not just people who want to feel better about losing him. Tannis uncrossed his arms. You are going to meet someone who knows Imperial security protocols and how to break them without setting the whole station on fire, he said. That would be me. Sella raised a hand from her console. And someone to slice their systems and find his cell, she said. That would be me, Droove rumbled. Pick grinned. And muscle, Pick said. And charm. Someone has to keep the guards distracted while the rest of you work. Muscle. Yes, Kara said. Charm, we will see. Droove just thumped his chest. Luke glanced at Kara. Looks like the band's getting back together, he said. Kara snorted. Just like old times, she said. Except this time, we are breaking someone out instead of breaking in. Mon Mothma watched them all. This is not a revenge mission, she said. Nor is it a suicide mission. It is a rescue, nothing more, nothing less. Our objective is singular. Get Superman out. If we cannot, we get as much information as we can about that facility and the Emperor's methods, and we get out alive. Understood. A chorus of nods. Then we move, she said. Time is not on our side. The longer he is in the Emperor's hands, the more opportunities there are for damage. Luke felt a chill. He is strong, he said. But even steel bends if you apply enough pressure. Then we make sure he does not have to stand alone under that pressure, Kara said. Deep in the bowels of the spindle, the pressure was omnipresent. The station was, as the officer had said, slim and cold. a long spindle-shaped structure, spinning slowly to simulate minimal gravity along its outer sections. At its core was a zero-G hub full of machinery and power conduits. Around that, concentric rings housed labs, cells, armories, barracks. The neutron star it orbited was a small, angry point of crushing mass. Its gravity tugged at the station constantly, forcing constant course corrections. Its radiation belched deadly pulses that the station's shielding converted into usable energy. On one of the inner rings, in a cell almost identical to the one on the Judicator but with even thicker walls, Superman hung in red light. The trip had been brief, as jumps went. The dampener field on the shuttle had kept him groggy. When he had stepped off onto the spindle's docking arm, the first thing he had noticed was the faint whine of the neutron star's effect on the station, a constant, high-pitched vibration barely within his hearing range. It made his teeth ache. They had taken him directly from the dock to the cell, past armored doors and checkpoints. He had caught a glimpse of other prisoners through small, reinforced windows, a Twi'lek in a restraint chair, a Rhodian in a sensory deprivation capsule, a hulking alien species he did not recognize, bound in multiple energy nets. The Emperor's interesting cases. Now he hung alone, waiting. He did not have to wait long. This time, when the door's outline appeared, it slid aside to admit not stormtroopers, but Red. The Emperor walked in, flanked by 2 royal guards. In person, his presence was worse than the holo. The air seemed to warp around him, not in a physical way, but in a sensory one. Superman's skin prickled. The force here was thicker, more viscous, and Palpatine moved through it like a fish through water. He smiled. "Welcome to my little workshop," he said. Superman met his eyes. "I've seen nicer labs," he said. "Less skull motif, more microscopes." "We have microscopes," Palpatine said. "Today, we are using a different lens." He gestured. The cuffs around Superman's wrists shifted, rotating slightly. Thin metal rods extended from them, touching his skin, in precise points along his forearms. Similar rods extended from the chest band and ankle cuffs. A low vibration started, different from the grav hum. It thrummed at a frequency his body recognized but did not like. "Your cells," Palpatine said, "drink certain wavelengths of energy. Yellow spectrum radiation from your home star, for instance. Here, under different conditions, they slowly expend that energy. I can accelerate that a little. Not enough to kill you, but enough to create stress." Pain built in his muscles, not sharp, but deep, like the ache of overexertion multiplied. "This is unnecessary," Palpatine said conversationally. "Physical discomfort is crude, but it helps strip away the superficial. Humor, bravado, surface-level defiance. Eventually, we get down to the core. You will not like what you find there," Superman said between his teeth. "Oh, I am counting on that," Palpatine said. The more stubborn the material, the more satisfying the shaping. He stepped closer, until his lined face was a meter from Superman's. "I am going to offer you something," he said. "Not a bargain, a certainty. If you continue to resist, I will hurt you. I will hurt you until your mind fractures. I will hurt you until you scream every secret you have ever tried to protect. I will hurt you until the people you have saved, the ones in this galaxy and the one you left behind, curse your name for making it worse." He said it in the same tone a teacher might use to explain a theorem. "Or," he continued, "you can work with me. Not kneel, not grovel. Work. Help me understand you. Help me harness you. Help me break a rebellion cleanly and quickly, before more lives are lost. In return, I will search for your Earth. I will find a way to send you back. I will even let you rule it under my gentle guidance as a vassal king." Superman stared at him. For a heartbeat, the image flickered in his mind. Earth at peace. Wars ended by a single ultimatum. Stand down or face Superman. Criminals unable to do harm because he was everywhere. Corrupt leaders dragged from office and thrown in cells. The League no longer needed because he could do it all. It was seductive. Not because he wanted power, because he wanted results. "I could make your world safe in a month," Palpatine said softly. "A year at most. No more Lex Luthors. No more alien invasions. No more weapons of mass destruction. All it would cost is your moral squeamishness. Superman closed his eyes for a moment. He saw Lex in a cell, smiling that infuriatingly calm smile. You finally did it, Clark, Lex would say. You became what you always feared. And you did it with someone else's crown on your head. He opened his eyes. No, he said. Palpatine's smile did not falter. You do not know what you are refusing, he said. I know exactly what I am refusing, Superman said. You think you are offering me peace. You are offering me a world where everyone does the right thing because they are afraid of me. That is not peace. That is a prison with nicer curtains. You are naive, Palpatine said. Without fear, people descend into chaos. They make selfish choices. They tear each other apart. Some do, Superman said. Enough that it feels like everyone. But not all. And you think there is a better way, Palpatine said. I know there is, Superman said. I have seen it. People standing up for each other because they believe in something, not because someone in a black cloak told them to. Palpatine's eyes narrowed. Belief, he said. Hope. Such fragile toys. He flicked his fingers. The vibrations from the cuffs intensified. Pain flared. Stronger now. Superman's muscles seized. His vision went white at the edges. He gritted his teeth and rode it. Palpatine watched, fascinated. You will not break me, Superman said when he could speak again. Not today, Palpatine agreed. This is a long process. You are not the first stubborn creature I have reoriented. Ask Lord Vader. Superman met his gaze. He is what happens when you break someone, he said. You call that success? Palpatine's smile thinned. An imperfect outcome, he said, but instructive. If I can bend you without shattering you, imagine the possibilities. He turned away. Continue the dampening regimen, he told the guards. Incrementally. I do not want him damaged beyond use. And double the field containment on his cell. He glanced back, eyes gleaming. We will speak again soon, Superman, he said. I have so many questions. And you have so few answers that will satisfy me. He left. The guards stayed a moment longer, adjusting controls. Then they too departed, the door hissing shut. The red light hummed. Superman hung there, shaking, breathing hard. He could not tell how much time had passed. Minutes, hours, days. The neutron star's constant whine blurred his sense of duration. He focused on small things, the rhythm of his own heartbeat, the memory of Kansas wind, the sound of Kara's voice when she said, half exasperated and half in awe, "You punched a Star Destroyer." He thought of Luke. Somewhere out there, the young Jedi would be feeling the pull of this place. The Emperor's gravity. The temptation to run in guns blazing and die. Do not you dare, Superman muttered. He realized he was smiling, faintly, despite everything. Hope was not a drug. It was a habit. Far away, in a hidden Alliance dock carved into an asteroid, a sleek Imperial courier sat under tarps and dust. Theta 9 had once ferried admirals and moffs across secure sectors. Now its exterior bore the scars of captured battle, scorch marks, patched hull plates, a new transponder core wired into old systems. Kara walked around it slowly, hand trailing along the hull. It is ugly, she said. I love it. Tanis snorted. Flies like a brick with delusions of grace, he said. But its signal checks out. As far as the Empire is concerned, it belongs. Cedar ducked under an access panel, Hables trailing from her toolkit. I am inserting our override now, she said. We can spoof orders from the Judicator to redirect this ship to the Spindle for a component delivery. Once we are close, we go dark. Get on board and improvise. Improvising is my favorite part, Pick said. Droove rumbled something that might have been agreement. Luke stood near the ramp, hand resting lightly on the side of the ship. He had his lightsaber clipped to his belt, half hidden by his tunic. His face was calm, but inside his mind there was a coiled readiness. Kara stepped up beside him. You are sure about this? She asked. No, he said, but I am going anyway. She smiled. Honesty looks good on you, Skywalker, she said. It is cheaper than confidence, he said. Rikan appeared at the foot of the ramp. Last chance to back out, he said. No such thing, Kara said. Rikan looked at each of them in turn. Your objective is clear, he said. Get in, find Superman, get out. If at any point the situation becomes untenable, you are authorized to abort. I will not have you dying because you could not let go of impossible odds. Kara nodded. Understood, she said. Look met Ryakan's gaze. If the Emperor is there, and it comes down to choosing between Superman and me, he said, you tell them to take him. Ryakan's jaw tightened. I hope it does not come to that, he said. But I will remember. Mon Mothma's voice came over the hangar speakers. To all members of the Theta 9 team, she said. Know this. The Alliance does not measure your worth by whether you succeed or fail in this mission. We measure it by why you go. You are not going to save a weapon. You are going to save a man who chose to stand with us. That distinction matters. Kara glanced up at the speaker. We will bring him home, she said. She hoped she was not lying. They boarded. Engines hummed to life. Theta 9 lifted off the asteroid dock, rotated, and streaked into the void, its Imperial signature snug around its rebel cargo, like a stolen uniform. Ahead of them, in the dim orbit of a dead star, the spindle waited. In one of its cells, under red light and pressure, and the weight of a tyrant's attention, Superman refused to give in. He did not know help was coming. He only knew that as long as he was breathing, the Emperor had not won. And somewhere between the two, the force swirled, ripples colliding, destinies tangling more tightly with every passing minute.